I wondered who or what it was that persuaded you to play Bellatrix and to join the Harry Potter ensemble.
I think, first of all, I wasn't first choice. A great friend of mine was first choice, so for Bellatrix, and then she got pregnant. In fact, I don't think everyone knows it was Narcissa, so we ended up swapping parts, I think. It was Helen McCrory. So, but initially, there wasn't a huge amount on the page. And I remember being tempted. JK sent a message saying, "Oh, but it might not be very big, or much there on the page, but she's very significant towards the end, and she gets to do lots of significant. I think she meant kill Dobby and what's been really fun actually, the bit that I do in the second half of that, which is pretend to be Hermione. Who doesn't want to be Hermione? So anyway, but on the whole, I'm into magic and I'm into enchantment and imaginary worlds and wands and spells and, and for me to dress up, I mean, I love dressing up. So, and witches, I've done many witches. It's just up my street. Didn't take a huge amount of persuading,
So you've had a huge amount of fun with her because she is that wild character. Is there a little element of...
There's quite a lot of me. Yeah. There's a lot of me. I mean, I'm not a sadomasochist and I don't, the torturing bit that I have to do with him, that didn't come naturally. But the childlike thing, releasing the inner child, is very up my,
Well, Deathly Hallows Part 1, of course, it opens with a convention of Voldemort and the Death Eaters are gathered. What contribution does Bellatrix make to this gathering?
I think Bellatrix she's slightly delusional. She thinks she's number one, she's right hand, and actually she's as irrelevant to him as everybody else. I mean, he only really cares about that snake, Nagini, his pet. The only warmth that he really shows us towards that. So, but I mean, I am the favourite. I mean, I want to be the favourite, and I just want to kill him. I mean, Harry, I want to be the one who kills him. I want to be, and get the top marks for doing it. So I just make that suggestion, but I'm overruled.
Well, you mentioned the snake Nagini, and that's one of my favourite scenes. Towards the end of that particular scene, of course, it slithers along the table and it eats the camera virtually. And I looked at it and I thought, it's sort of a metaphor in a way for the way this fabulous franchise has devoured all of us, isn't it, over the past 10 years?
Yeah, it has devoured. I mean, I hope it's a bit more positive than, I mean, rather than, I hope that it's brought magic and just sort of, enhanced our lives, but it has been. It's amazing how it's mesmerised everyone, and so on such a mass scale.
It's absolutely wonderful to look around at that table and the ensemble cast there. But you must have experienced a few poignant moments as you were going through the final chapters of this, did you?
I was sad to say goodbye to the crew and particularly hair and makeup and the actors, and it was a really, I mean, for me it was only 4 years, but even then that's a long time, and lots of important things happened to me, like I had a baby and so in that way, and I died on my last day. Actually, they killed me off literally on my last day, so it felt really final, and I sort of miss Bellatrix. I sort of developed quite an affection for her, even though she's really damaged. I miss the teeth. I took the teeth. I do remember thinking, the costume's been fun. It's great dressing up, cosy. It felt good to wear it.
Well, David Yates, of course, has helmed the last four in the series, and I've been very much a long-time fan of his television work, State of Play, and the Way We Live Now, and so on. What for you are his special talents, particularly working in the world of the fantastical?
I love Yates. I mean, he's a really extraordinary man, and he just seems so modest and just like you'd never think. He doesn't wear his authority, doesn't wear his creativity on his sleeve. You just think, and he's so modest, I think. But he's tireless in his enthusiasm and his energy and his exacting his standards, and he's always got. I don't know how you do it because it's such a huge juggernaut, the whole thing, to have keep all the strands in his head and all the storytelling and everybody's journeys, every separate character's journey, the whole, story. I mean, it is massive to keep in one head, and let alone, I mean, he's done how many? 3, 4? 4. I mean, and also he looks fine on it. I know what it is because I live with the director, so I know what strain it is to direct. and how exhausting it is, and how stamina. But he's done 4. It's like he's a phenomenon. But he's just a phenomenally nice man too, and it's quite. I think it's a privilege to work with him, have the same character, and over 4 years have the same director, because we could sort of develop the character that you never really get to do on a film, because it's over in 10 weeks or 12 weeks. But this she's marinated, and she's come back, and he said, oh, she's much easier coming back this time. I said, well, yeah, because the last time I was, I just had a baby, so I was completely out of it. And the first time, it's pretty difficult to find. She was so all over the shop. It's quite difficult. It takes time to find somebody, And but it's definitely a collaboration, And I love working with him.
Well, one of the things that strikes me about the franchise is the enormous integrity behind it, and I just wondered, would you agree with that, and where that actually springs from?
What, the integrity?
The integrity, yes.
I suppose it springs from JK, but it also from those producers. I mean, they're extraordinary, and they've got integrity. I know them personally, which is really rewarding to see. But I've known David Heyman for years, and I've known David Barron for years, and way before any of this happened. So they have real integrity as people, but they've also really protected the children, and their values and their and the way they treated the crew. I mean, like last night, it was nice just to see all the crew there. Most films, the crews never come to the premiere. And it was a real family. They made it, made it with real thought, imagination, and emotional thought, and consideration.